Okay, let's start. Good morning to all of you who have already connected. This is our 8th Zoom meeting of EURAG, and I have the pleasure to open it and to welcome you. I see that there are new names which we have not seen before, Veronica, for example, but also others, and you will have the chance to present yourself once Dana has taken over to moderate this morning session. When we talk about the subject of today's meeting, I must say I'm always very pleased when I know tomorrow we will have another Zoom meeting of EURAG, because those please mute their microphones who are not just speaking. That would facilitate things. Good. I'm always very pleased when I know tomorrow we will have a Zoom meeting, because it is full of very interesting contributions and very good discussions. First of all, I would like to thank Monique again for having arranged this session, and also for Dana. We have exchanged on what should we offer to you as an issue to be debated today. And we came to a topic which is extremely important for all of us, because it is, especially in these difficult times, the means to communicate among ourselves and with friends and family and others, to participate still under very difficult conditions and circumstances with society at large, to be included and to maintain in one way or the other the cohesion of our society. But it's not only that communication and participation and inclusion, but it also serves to create a sense of independence and self-determination for the persons which we represent with our organizations, and that means older persons in society. The topic which we have chosen is, what would you advise to the IT experts, and not only to the IT experts, but also to a larger group of people involved, in order to make digital technologies more age-friendly. That means that we state, to start with, that these means are not fully age-friendly, and perhaps you can also spell out what is not age-friendly, what is difficult, and what makes your life more complicated, and how to avoid the exclusion of a larger number of older people who are not able, because they don't know how to manage that technology, who are afraid, or even perhaps they are not willing to use digital technologies because they find them too complicated. It is a new cultural technology which we use today. You are all able to do that, but there are many friends and relatives and people of older age who are not yet fully aware of the technologies, or have not learned how to master them, and where we have the obligation and the responsibility to help them for an easier access to these IT possibilities, because these IT possibilities have also a large range of new horizons. We can all of a sudden see each other over the continents, which we could not do before. We can use very cheap, once we have the hardware, very cheap communication techniques. We can arrange conference among ourselves with our families. We can exchange documents, etc., etc. There is a huge amount of new things which we couldn't do 10 years ago. And that is certainly should encourage us not only to know about them, but actively to use them and to master them. Having said that, I'm very happy to welcome you all here. I give the floor now to Dana, our Secretary General, who will now lead the discussion and invite the various participants, one after the other, to contribute, because certainly you have had thoughts about this issue and you have collected your own experiences to share them with all of us, and we will happily benefit from your experiences, from your wisdom, from your recommendations. And at the end of the session, we may or may not, hopefully we may agree on some recommendations which we would like to give to politicians, to IT managers and other people in order to improve the systems so that they become even more useful than they are already. Dana, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Good morning to everyone. So several people apologize that who registered originally that they can't be with us. But anyway, I would like to mention in the beginning that I have myself attended 2 Zoom meetings with MIT, the famous Massachusetts Institute of Technologies, in the meantime. And my main intention actually was to find out how much they are willing to listen to the elderly, the experts, and to adjust the devices, technological devices, to make them more age-friendly. And I have to confess that what triggered my desire to do that, to attend these 2 meetings, was our member, Grażyna Buze from Poland, who expressed it so, so profoundly the last time. So I was, Grażyna, your ambassador at those meetings, and I was pushing them, and I have to confess that the result was not too satisfactory. So, so I will take my list of participants and go in the alphabetic order and give them the floor. And the very first one is Rosemary Kurz from Austria. Rosemary, are you with us? I could see on chat that you have been waiting in the waiting room to enter the session.
Yeah, no, I don't see, wait a minute. I don't see Rosemary.
It was on the chat that she can't get in.
She cannot get in.
No, that she was waiting in the waiting room.
Yeah, I don't see anybody. Wait a minute. Somebody's waiting on the phone. Perhaps it's her. It's a number 144.
Yeah, it's down.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Rosemary. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Rosemary,
okay.
So yeah. I am pleased that you are with us.
Yeah.
And so the floor is yours. So please, you can start.
Yeah.
Yeah, the floor is yours. So please.
Yeah. What do you want from me? Huh?
Rosemary, you applied, you registered for today, and I expect you that you want to give your contribution to the topic, that we would like to get more age-friendly digital technologies. So maybe you can tell us how the digital technologies are working for you personally.
Yeah, that's fine if you put me into the middle of this of the center. Where ik video starting. Oh yes, here I am.
Good.
Yeah, what I'm doing at the moment, I'm mainly at home. I'm very strict about it because I'm 85 and I'm not willing to get any kind of virus. And as I'm staying home, beside walking and doing my exercises, I am part of some Zooming sessions. And if there are difficulties in getting in, you just notice that my daughter is helping me. She is living in Tyrol. I'm living in Graz, 600 kilometers apart. But the internet connection is very good between my children. The son is in Vienna, and he has a team viewer in my PC, and in the night he's always working, so I'm always top standard in the internet business. What else am I doing? At the same time, I am learning. At the moment, I'm always learning, doing some new things in internet. As I am still working in different organizations like OMAS for Future or with the Danube Networkers, I'm just preparing a PowerPoint, which I'm going to present on the 28th of March. I'm going to invite you, Dana, or other persons, yes, who would like to join this session. Yeah, and I must say, if I wouldn't have this possibility to learn in the internet and to be in connection with all the people, another group I'm in connection is a group giving some lectures or seminars in the case of illnesses which are chronic, yes. As I'm so old as I am, I have a lot of chronic diseases, but these don't me prevent to be happy, to be on the way, and to be in connection with you all. So I love you, Monique, Dani, Sveta Hansen, yeah, hi, my daughter Heide, Dirk Terre, fine to see you. Yes, I love you all. Alice Lois, Veronica, Paul, Oscar, Rita, Olga, yeah. Peter, yes, hello, Gabo, Grasna, and Anita, Ludmila, Dario. Yes, I think you are great. In Danube, we were 70 people at the last meeting. This was, and we all were asked to present ourselves in with a few words, and we did. And then we had a wonderful program. So I think many nice things are going to happen. And I'm, even being so old as I am, yes, I'm part of it. I'm part of your session, and thank you very much, Dana, and thanks so extremely, Monique. You are just great helping us to be on tour.
Yes. Thank you, Rosemary, very much. We feel the same, that after Monique came with that idea in May that we should start with EURAG memory, with EURAG Zoom sessions. So it changed completely the atmosphere in EURAG, because we feel that despite the world pandemic, we are able to be close to each other, to talk, to discuss, to see each other on the screen. And it gives a completely different, a new dimension to our communication. So thank you very much. And now we are moving in the alphabetic order to Denmark. Peter Hansen, please. The floor is yours.
Thank you. And also nice to see all of you. The topic of today's meeting, I'm not sure that we can ask for much more from the IT business, but what what I find most important is that we take care to teach, to educate every adult to be able to deal with any technology. It is becoming more and more important. It is for our meetings, but also for the well-being of all citizens in our countries, that they are able to communicate via IT. So I think that education, teaching is the most important.
Thank you, Peter. And we have one more of our members and it is Paul Anker Anderson from Global Senior from Denmark. Paul?
Yes, thank you. Hello, everybody. Hope you enjoy the marks of spring now. We don't have only to look into the screen, but can also go outside enjoying the nice signs of spring. To the day's topic, I would like to start to say that operating devices and apps is not a problem for older persons. It is a problem for very many persons. So it's not only a problem for elderly people. That is very important to know. It is a problem for civil society at all. It is a problem because everything is developed to suit the market of the big business and companies, etc. And it's not developed for you and me. Of course, we can give some advice to the ET companies. They can make it more precise when you have to choose. They could have more readable fonts and things like that. But really the core is that everybody in a company have a supporter at his side. Sometimes it is 50 persons who share one, sometimes it's less. And they all use this supporter to get better to operate these devices. So what we really need is the access to support also for elderly people and every other who is outside the labor market. Also some on the labor market, the unskilled workers and so on. And we have to claim that. We have to demand this from our governments, from the municipalities. In Denmark, you have to communicate with all authorities by computer. So they also have to give us the chance to educate us and to support us in using these programs. So this is really, I think, a very important point. And of course, many countries are not in a situation where the municipality will offer you a supporter, but then it is something to do for the civil society organization. And we do, for instance, in my organization, we help people who are not, who don't know anything about these new types of apps. That was the one thing. A little thing more is that we could, of course, also try to improve the development in the IT companies by, for instance, asking the European Union to set some standards to what is an age-friendly program, and we can have a marking arrangement, a smiley, or simply say this is an age-friendly program. Maybe this could do a little, but I will still think that the competition for the big companies is in front of the big companies and the labor market. So, but let us try to raise also these demands to the European Union that we should have a marking system. That this is an elder-friendly program.
Thank you, Paul. Anker. I think that it is a very important point because what Grazina was talking about and what we all of us know is that they are, especially those people who are living in their homes, their private homes, and they really don't have that assistance with using the technologies, that they are excluded. They are not able to communicate with their relatives because they don't know how to do it. And we might say that the relatives are responsible for that to teach them, but if nobody is with them, they don't even know how to start it and so on. So I agree with you fully that EU should be somehow more responsible for age-friendly digital technologies. So we are coming to Estonia, and there is a representative of our Estonian organization, Siri. Siri, the floor is yours. Siri Jackson. Monique, is she with us?
I don't see Siri. I don't see Siri. I don't know if she was there before. Who is, wait a minute, Ludmila is not from Estonia, I suppose. I don't know who is Ludmila and who is Vladimir.
They are from Russia, but we know we want that Estonian girl living in Finland.
Yeah, of course.
Siri Jackson, she.
Okay, so perhaps she will come back, but for the moment I don't see her in the list, yeah?
All right, all right. Thank you very much. And we are going to France. Monique, the floor is yours.
Okay, hi. Hi, everybody. So I would say that we have to tell the IT experts a certain number of things. I mean, mostly they know it, in fact. They just don't apply the rules. One of them, well known, is to have, for instance, big characters on a web page, or to enable the possibility with, you see on some websites, a little a and a big A, which means that you can click on the big A to have bigger characters. That's one possibility. And there is another possibility, for instance, for blind people, to have the web page read by the computer automatically, and all kind of things like that. Other rules like don't make a big contrast, don't make white characters on black pages, or use a certain police of characters which is easier to read. There are all kind of easy, I mean, rules which are basic, and but people, I mean, the computer people don't use them. Well, yeah. There is no, I mean, they are not obliged, of course, so it costs more money, so they don't do it. It's like, I'm always mad at computer people because they don't check if the web page is readable on Chrome and on Internet Explorer, on Edge, on Mozilla, and so on. It's too much work for them. So they just try to make the web page for one navigator, and then they don't try to see if it works for other people. But that's a question of money, because the people are not paid enough, or I don't know, the people who are engaged are not good enough, or things like that. Okay, so that's one problem. A more basic problem is that people don't even get to to the computer because they don't have money to buy a computer, or because they don't have teaching, and they need to be taught, and they don't know where to go to get the basis. And we have this problem. This is why I created eSeniors 15 years ago, and I see that still after 15 or 16 years, I still have a lot of people every day who call me, oh, I need to learn how to use a computer after 16 years. I mean, that's crazy. I thought 16 years ago that I would never go so far, and that people would not need eSeniors anymore. But anyhow, okay. So, well, that's what I would say. And also, for instance, you can buy a computer for very cheap. People don't know it. There are some associations who are recycling computers from big banks, and they recycle them, and then you can buy a mobile computer for €150, which is, I don't know, $180. It's really not much. And it's enough to get on the internet. But most people don't know that, and they think that buying a computer is way expensive. No, that's one thing. But besides computer, I was just reading today that in Japan, they have a big problem because they put everything is accessible on smartphones in Japan, and seniors don't like smartphones. That's another problem. Even I like computers, but I don't like smartphones so much because it's too little. The characters are too little. So that's another issue, because a lot of people in industry go over to smartphone. They think, oh, that's very easy. Everybody has a smartphone nowadays. Let's put everything on smartphone, like a train ticket, whatever, I don't know, a rendezvous with the doctor, anything. So that's another issue. Okay, that's all. I just want to, nothing to do with that. I just want to remind people that we have on the 24th of March, we have this English conversation. Wait a minute, Dana, what day do we have a memory training? 26? In any case, the 24th we have the English and conversation online, and on the 14th of April we have this book club which begins, and I hope everybody knows about it and knows that the book that I recommended to read was Animal Farm. Okay, that's all. We can talk about it later. That's all from me. Dana. Dana, what's happening? Conversation. What's happening? Dana?
Yes, I lost you because it showed me that the internet connection is unstable. So you see, it is another problem that we are having, that we completely depend upon upon these technologies with communication, and they are not always reliable. I just realized that I skipped the Czech Republic. So I wanted to apologize, Miloš Weiss, who is seeing a doctor right now, and who is sending his best regards to everyone. And I wanted to mention my own situation in my own country, where I am running the Center of Lifelong Learning for 3,000 people. And only half of my students are having computer. So it means that even if I am trying to entertain my students with online classes, lectures, only half of them can be entertained. And I'm trying to make it that waiting for opening more pleasant for them. But you see that it is what Grazina talked about, that half of the people, approximately half of the elderly, are excluded. And it is especially so serious during this pandemic time, because they have no connection with the outside world. And that's why it is such an important topic to make these experts to come up with something more age-friendly that is not so complicated. Maybe just the voice devices like Alexa, where you just ask something and the device replies. And maybe it would be possible to make some like computer that would react to our voice, that people wouldn't have to go, you know, and to press whatever, and it would be just working. So it is the music of the future. So it is for me, and now I am going to Germany. Dirk, do you want to say more than in the beginning?
Not really. I just want to inform you that the NGO Committee on Aging in Vienna at the United Nations, where EURAG is a member of, and I'm one of the vice presidents of this group, has decided to set up a working group on these issues exactly, on what are the present obstacles in using these modern devices, what should be recommended, where are they in particularly helpful, and where can we inform the members of our different organizations that they have the possibility to use these devices and the systems, and that they have also the possibility to attend training courses, which are very well conceived and useful for people to know about. That is one information which I would like to share with you. And what we hear today, I will certainly make sure that your proposals and your demands will be fed into that working group on the use and usability of IT technologies for older persons in the NGO Committee on Aging. The second information which I would like to share with you concerns Grazina Busse. Grazina, hi. Grazina is working on a very important document, which is the outcome of our last meeting, partially, but it's also the outcome of a project she's very heavily involved in, and it is the outcome of her personal, very high-level reflections. I have seen this document. I'm delighted that she is working on that. We will go on, and also the results of today will certainly, Grazina, be fed into that document. And the objective of this study is to make proposals for recommendations, which then EURAG can adopt. And once these recommendations, political and technical recommendations both, but perhaps even economic recommendations, they will then be transferred and submitted to policymakers and other decision makers in the area in order to advance things. Last little remark, Dana, we are not too far away from what you just said, the look into the future. The systems which will be voice commanded are just around the corner. We are still with keyboards, and sometimes we have difficulties. The older we are, we have difficulties with our hands and fingers, but that is not all. these advanced systems will react immediately by artificial intelligence to our voices, and will adapt to the sound of our voices so that they can identify immediately. It's a danger and an advantage. Oh, that is Dana who is speaking, and Dana wants to know her bank account, what is the assets which she has right now. So Dana, identify yourself with more than that, but that will be visual. The system then immediately detect by the face and the voice of Dana who is that person who is just communicating. That is around the corner, so we don't have to wait too long for that. Artificial intelligence will be the new way of communicating, of being assisted in our efforts to relate to other people, to organizations, to other systems, etc., etc. So you are totally right, Dana. It's around the corner. Thank you.
Thank you, Dirk. I have to mention a joke that I have seen on the internet, that one man went to the dentist and then he couldn't, he somehow, you know, his speech was distorted and his door were on that signal, voice signal, and he couldn't get back home. So maybe you know it. So you see that the devices are somehow, you know, limited in their action, but it would be anyway a great help what you talked about. And now we are approaching Hungary. Gabor, the floor is yours.
Okay. Good morning, everybody, and lovely to see you healthy, gorgeous, happy in this spring. And also good to hear to your advices, and I was listening to you and I was really thinking, however, I prepared for this speech, sort of, but now I think you already said everything. So experts, you are experts, you know the topic very well. What I try to do, maybe you can say, oh, I've heard it, what is he talking about? But maybe I try to put everything into another angle. That might be my contribution. And of course, I begin from my professional background as a social worker. I was thinking about the analysis of the problem. Why is this issue that was raised, that elderly people have fear of using digital technology? And we did a small informal research among our members in the association, and now it is very clear that, again, I think you know this will be not new, that people are afraid of because of many problems. There are psychological problems. The fear itself is a psychological problem. Why do we have fear? Because we think, or many people may think, that we cause damage on the computer. If you don't know, if you push a button and you don't know the consequence, you don't want to push the button, because I also experienced this. Oh, what will happen? I will lose everything. Maybe this computer will not work anymore. So I don't push the button. It's very, very easy to feel this. The unknown field makes us fear of the situation. The motivation, it's also a psychological thing. Why should I do it? I don't care. I was living with my friends without a computer, without maybe not a mobile, but this intelligent mobile, and so on and so on. So the motivation is lacking. And then there are the physical problems. Of course, seeing is important, hearing, touching. We are losing abilities, so that makes it actually difficult to use. And also there are communal problems that, let's say, my family says, oh, you don't have to use this, you don't need it, here we are for you, that's okay. Or the community doesn't want to use it, it's in the country, a conservative community, they are not interested in modern technology, it's been seen as something wrong. And also maybe a big one, Monique was referring to this also, the financial dimension of it. To tell the truth, Monique, 150 euro, it's not too much in France, it's a lot of money in country Hungary or Romania or Ukraine or Croatia. So there are enormous differences in our countries, and maybe EU might have an idea to set up a fund for people or countries which have less income. Now I come to the point. So after the analysis of the problem, what we do also try to do to talk to IT people. They should be able to understand the complexity of the target group they want to sell the gadgets. They just like a marketing strategy. If you want to sell good haute cologne, what do? You go on the street and you ask men, women, young and elderly, and you just have to smell. Do you like this haute cologne or not? Or if yes, they make, okay, it's very good. The IT people should do exactly the same. They should talk to people, elderly people, they have to know what's the problem. And then the major point is that they are responsible for the technological part. For example, elderly people like me, we don't like very much this kind of mobile. Also, it was said, because I don't see very much where to touch it. So for elderly people, it's much better with big buttons. We can see the big buttons. And also, we don't need very complicated gadgets. Young people love it. There are 250 applications, sounds, programs. You can see where to drink and so on. Elderly people are not so active anymore, unfortunately, but that's why they don't need, or I don't need 250 programs in my mobile. What I need is 3 things. I can call, I can be called, and maybe I can use the Zoom. So very simple things which are still very important. So actually I could go on for 3 hours to talk about. I don't want to take your time, but the major point is, yes, Dirk said, Monique said, you said, everybody said, Peter said, educating elderly people and educating the IT people. We have to understand each other, and we have to be able to talk to each other constantly to understand the needs and solutions. Thank you very much. That's all.
Thank you, Gabor. Yes, it is why we are having this meeting, because we are talking about what is available and what is needed, that there is a certain disproportion. And it is what I try to bring to the attention to those experts from Massachusetts Institute of Technology. And they did understand, but they were not exactly ready to somehow to meet our needs, because it was too probably primitive for them what we wanted, you know. So there is again, you know, that disproportion about our desires and their ambitions. So I could see on chat that someone wanted to comment on Monique. So who was that?
Rosemary.
Yeah. So yeah. Rosemary, only shortly, because we have many people who want to talk. Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
I want just to make the point of money. Yes. Even in Austria, for the seniors, 170 or 50 is too much. And the second is, we in Austria have big senior organizations, and one has a very nice lady on top, this is the Korosek, and she is sending mails to seniors, and she is talking to the government. I'm going to talk to her in a couple of days, bringing all the points you just said. And last but not least, the old ones have to have a buddy a second person who is going to help. Thanks.
Thank you, Rosemary. And now we are coming to and it is Ireland. May, are you with us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
We're just getting over St. Patrick's Day here. I'm sure you all know what that is. I actually took the green sweater off today, but anyway, and now we're all watching horse racing because the Irish have taken over Cheltenham. But I don't know whether any of you know what Cheltenham is, but we're obsessed with horse racing here. Anyway, I was just listening with interest to what was going on, and somebody said they don't like their smartphone. It was Monique, I think. I love my smartphone. My husband tells me off. He said, would you get off that thing? But I just like it. I use it all the time. But our postal service here, which is called An Post, they have brought out a smartphone with a bigger keyboard for older people to use. But the only thing is, like that lady said, it's quite expensive. It's 159 euros. So a lot of people, you know, don't want to spend that kind of money. But if you want to get into the IT scene, you're going to have to do that. Also, I don't know whether any of you have heard of the Acorn computer. Have you? That's another thing that's here. And that also has a bigger keyboard. And it's also extremely easy to use. Now, I have been promised one, and not that I need it, but other people do. And I have offered to go to several groups when we come out of the pandemic to go out and demonstrate how they can use it, and maybe they will buy one. The other thing that we have done here in relation to learning IT is we work with the transition year students, which are the students in second level education that are in their 5th year, before they go into their last year of school, before they go to college. And we, when we had this going on, we sat on a one-to-one basis with these students. We asked permission from the headmistress or headmaster of the school, and we sat down. And I sat down with the 70-year-old who probably thought I was like something out of the Ark. And she taught me everything. And then at the end of it, you get a certificate, which makes you feel very important, of course, at all. But that's how I learned how to use the computer, because I'm married to a man who was an IT guy, and he had no patience with me. He'd say, oh, give me that, I'll do it. Because I'd be fiddling around in there and I'd be annoying him. And I was also terrified of pressing buttons in case I got rid of all his stuff, I would have been killed. But in saying that, we were just saying yesterday, there was a few of us on a Zoom meeting, and we have a lot of contact with people who are in their late 80s and early 90s. There's no way those people are going to learn how to use IT. They're just not going to do it. So I just said, well, maybe we should look forward to the younger retirees when they're reaching 65. They will have all the knowledge that, you know, that's needed for IT. So, and our government, you see, we're very lucky here. We all have very good pensions. I don't know how much people get in pensions in Europe, but we have 258 euros a week, which is not, it's not bad. It's not bad. So, you know, but I wouldn't like to be living on it if anything happened to my husband, because he has a private pension. But, you know, money is possibly a major problem for people in buying devices like the smartphones and the Acorn. But when I get the Acorn thing, I'll send you all the details on it when it's delivered here, and I'll let you know what it looks like and what it does, and if that's any help. Okay, and it's lovely to see you all. The sun is shining here in Ireland and spring has sprung. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. We got a new load of snow in Prague today.
Oh, no, thank you.
So what is coming out of all the presentations is that there are people who are not able to work with technologies, and there are not people who would assist them available. And it is the main problem, that the technologies are, you know, they are on such a level that many people are not able to master them without a help. And we don't have enough help. Yeah, so it is, we must make them, you know, we need them more, you know, simple. that the help would be minimized. So I think that it is probably the point. So I am going to other country from I, and it is Italy. And I have Dario Bracco. Dario?
Good morning to everybody. I'm very interested in this argument because IT is the blood of the communication. We're studying this argument from a long time inside the genome technology. And of course, the study empiric and theoretic are very far from what we are seeing now. For the time being, the main example of IT is the communication possible thanks to the smartphone or other equipment between guests or patients in the hospital, isolated, and the parents. There are some cases of people who stay 2-3 months alone somewhere, and the parents didn't know where are, because the isolation is so strong that oblige the patients to stay really isolated, alone, without communication. Only thanks to smartphone, sometimes, if they are, or the organization could give them for some minutes, they succeed in connecting to patients. This is for update example of IT. Then I agree perfectly with smartphone. It's too complicated and too young, too plenty of application for young people and very few for us. But IT, I think at the moment, thanks or cause of this pandemic, must be reviewed. The first thing is elderly people is decreased number because they deaf and they are not, the boomers are not so much present in the Shen. They are lose life or lose powerful. So we must restudy IT for the new generation of elderly. Less culturalized, but maybe more need of care and assistance. And then you talk. Another thing is the hardware. We consider hardware for IT mainly the smartphone or the computer, but it's the frame for that is important. We are not enough fiber line. They're not, it's too frequent that you can't utilize your equipment. But it's not dependent from you or from the equipment, it's dependent of the line. The third is the famous LLN, long life learning. This is time to realize this. We must study, we must update, we must refresh our cognition on the matter of communication, thanks to the new technology. Right? And the fourth is the relationship between generations. I don't know what happened in the other countries, but in Italy, there are the new generation, so that so-called millennials is very far from the older. It's more far than in the past. There are not, it's not communication, it's not relationship like the nephew and the grandfather. It's very cold now. is far. It's nothing. In a study that we, with a group of a study of sociology, we are entering this matter because for many years, all their support also with finance the young. Now they can't do so as in the past, and the young forget them. But this is it's brutally, but this is the picture we have done from the matter. On the other hand, I think that the pandemic is accelerating the IT needs and IT development. So this is a wish for everybody. This is my consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Dario. Dario is an expert in digital technologies, and it is what we all realized, that with the pandemic, there was a much higher need to use these digital technologies for communication because we couldn't do otherwise. So you talked about intergenerational cooperation. I think that it works out in that case that when the youngsters need you, when they need you, you know, they are coming to you. And in my own case, my granddaughter who is studying architecture, she's coming every Thursday afternoon because she has the English class and her knowledge is so-so. So I am sitting next to her and helping her. So she said, if I can't come here, I would just skip the class. So just to put a smile on your face. So we are coming to L, and I would like to ask if we have someone from Latvia.
Dana, there is somebody from Italy who might want to talk, which is Oscar.
No, he didn't want to. He said that
he doesn't want to talk. Okay, no problem.
Yeah, he just left. He apologized that he had to quit.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. So I wanted to give him a floor.
Yeah, okay, no problem.
He's gone. So Latvia, Rasa from Riga. Do we have?
Hello.
Yeah, good.
So I'm very sorry, but today our head of the chair, Ms. Teresia, she is ill and has an appointment with the doctor, and she was going to have a report on this subject. But alas, something has gone wrong. So we are just, I hope that she will be okay and be taking the floor next time, okay?
Yeah, so thank you, Alisa. Nice to see you. Thank you. And so now I am moving to Lithuania. And there is Rita.
Nice to see you all.
Yeah.
I'm going to read today the short version of our best IT specialist, Virgilia Dolgova. She participated at the IT conference from Prague, but she couldn't come today and sent her best regards to all of you. So I'm starting to read what she wrote in short. The market is not investing enough on innovations for the elder users. Many products and services of the IT market often are not appropriate to the needs of elder users, increase the sense of frustration and dependence on other people. For elderly people, it is important suitable form for the device, such as a screen and keyboard size, special sound settings, assistance function, and very important is a cost. YouTube is one of the most suitable ways for learning new digital skills. It allows to search for content and watch at our own pace as many times as we need. The problem is that all digital trainings are led by young people, and the information is provided too quickly without repetitions and pauses. Here could be used seniors to seniors teaching methods. Seniors are often shy to ask for help. New technology is hard for elderly and often their kids don't want to help them. Grandchildren are friendlier. On the other hand, some older people simply don't want to ask for help because they don't want to show their incompetence and appear technologically ineptly. And usually older adults have concerns about new technology's potential to disrupt their privacy and the potential of personal invasion and financial security. And now the last. Attention now. Helpful ways you can teach a senior in the digital age. First, explain the value. Second, use easy language. Third, take it slow. Fourth, write it down. Fifth, patience is the key. Sixth, give them confidence. Seventh, show them free resources. Eighth, get them used to technology. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rita.
Julia.
Dana, I just want to say that Siri came in now. Siri came in, and Valerie.
All right. I will come to Siri just in a moment.
And Valerie. Okay, fine.
I wanted to comment on Rita. I think that Virgilia listed very good points, and it is so important that someone, on your level, like someone in your age, is helping you, who understands that you need to do it slowly, and who is also, there was one point missing, did you realize it? That you have to praise that person for any progress, they must feel that they have done something, that they have achieved something, and that they are good that they achieved it. So it is, but I agree, it is a very slow process, and the youngsters usually don't understand that we are so slow, on the uptake with digital technologies. So thank you, Rita, very much. And so I'm going back to Siri, who was missing at that time when I gave her a floor. So Siri, are you with us now?
Oh, yes. Hello, everybody. And well, I do it shortly. Me and technology, we are not actually as friends. So someday I will be one of the difficult elderly persons who cannot use the newest development in this area. So I do not have any answers how to make digital technologies more age-friendly. But I can recommend that the IT experts should work closely together with elderlies. And those are experts in this area. So in my everyday work with elderly migrants, I can see more often that we are so-called professionals who know exactly how and what our clients need, or but this is not working if we don't ask them what do they need. Well, about how to avoid exclusion of older people, as I mentioned in our last meeting in Estonia, we have developed a program how to make successful telephone interviews, which does not include different approaches to performing memory training. We use the telephone only because telephone is the most relevant tool during Corona times. So this is our primary way what we developed to avoid exclusion. At the end of March, we are publishing a new guide about how to conduct this interview. And in Finland, I developed a new concept of memory training for elderly Russian-speaking migrants. In English, it may be exercises through stories, but this is web training and suitable only for those elderly who can use computer. So this is it for this time.
Thank you, Siri.
Thank you.
It is what comes out from all of us that they are people who are ready to use computer, and then they can take part in certain activities. And these who are not able, they are excluded. It is the situation. Thank you so much. And now I am coming to a very I am now coming to Macedonia. Olga, are you with us? Macedonia.
Macedonia is in Macedonia.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for very wise proposals till now from all of you. And for me, maybe the answer of this discussion is in this European Commission green paper you put it, telling the solidarity and the responsibility between generations is the main key for solution. But instead of independent, better solution is to try to have interdependent living. And as a proof, I will tell you 3 stories from my life, because this is the same as the science is doing. 3 stories or many stories, the same, maybe is the same. The first story, the niece says, we loved our grandmother most. She had enough time to listen to us. We shared our pains and secrets with her. She cooked whatever we wanted to eat. She would caress us, console us. It was this until we bought her a laptop. And now she is a real hacker. And this is a kind of now destination for social alienation. The second story, the uncle has bought a most beautiful dress to her niece's 6th birthday. She would put it on herself with joy, but she could hardly see herself in the mirror because the dress was too big for her. Its label read it was for girls age 6, but the niece was smallish. She said, Uncle, I want a dress that I can wear. This means that each of us has individually specific age dimension. And the third story, when our son was 3 years old, we bought him a nice, expensive bicycle with 2 auxiliary wheels so that he can ride it even when a bit older. But he couldn't ride it at all because it was too complicated for him. And his grandma saw his persistent futile attempts to ride this beautiful bicycle. The next day, she brought him a small, simple, cheap tricycle with which her dear nephew became a virtuoso. Yes. In this time of COVID-19 in Macedonia, aging population is grateful to have smartphone, and our adults are virtuoso in using Viber. We say Viber, you say Viber, but it's the same.
Yeah.
No, but it depends. This is a pronunciation depend. You see the origin of this Viber. And to hear and to watch was enough to have good instrument for social connection. And when listening to you and all this from the life story, the best is to provide a rich offer of different innovative technology products on the market. This is a chance for personal selection in the specific context, depending on the needs and skills of everyone as user. And in this, at the end, I stress the accent on this interdependent living of all of us, not only aging people and young generation, but also in between us. We are all of us playing some games and roles in our lives, and I see when working with my granddaughter on a picture book concerning bullying, that not only in the school they have this main three roles, witness, bully, and victims, but in all generations and in all places we see this role playing now in the same with trying to have wise products to use now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Olga. You can't, hide that you are a professor of psychology.
Developmental psychology, developmental.
Thank you for your very descriptive examples. So we got the point that there is always, the personal need, and that people should be approached with options for their personal needs. And the trouble is that as we are getting older and older, we are getting less and less flexible. And it is the problem that some people are not able to adjust. They even don't feel any appeal, to do it. They just stagnate and they say, no, it is not for me. I don't want that. But then they are atoning for that because they are excluded from social life and social connections. So thank you so much. And now I am coming to a very important point, because I would like to give a floor to our brand new member. And it is Mrs. Veronika Timbalari from the Republic of Moldova.
Thank you very much, Dana. And hello to everybody. Actually, it's already afternoon in Moldova. I would like, first of all, to thank everyone to being so interesting and so helpful with different interesting hints and ideas about technology, about friendly age technologies. Just I will not take much of your time, as I am, as Dana said, brandly new, but maybe still some things that I would like to share with you, and I think they can be quite interesting. In Moldova, our association is running actually 3 social projects at the moment. It's a daycare center for the elderly, it's home for seniors, and it's home care. And in comparison with many European countries, I am afraid to say that Moldova is one of the poorest countries, and that is why one of our main purpose and objective is to take care of the seniors. So we started in 2003, and we started with the basic needs, because having a pension of 30 euro per month, it's really very complicated to survive. not having enough access to elementary things like medication, like food, like washing materials, and so on. So we started with very essential things like giving food to seniors, washing materials, creating different activities. Then, little by little, we observed that the basic needs gradually are covered, and the seniors started to become more and more interested in having something more rather than basic needs. So we created different clubs like a handicraft club, clubs for dancing, chess, women club one, they can come and have some makeup, have dyeing their hair, having just chats. And you see, the activities were really very popular. But unfortunately, like in all European countries, Moldova also faced big problems like this corona problem. And it affected, first of all, our beneficiaries, our elderly that had to stay at home, having not access to most of the things. And most of all, they feel very isolated and very depressed because many of them have no children, or even if they have children, they migrated and they don't have any contact with them, or they don't know how to use at least a simple telephone. So what we did is we bought several very, very simple mobile telephones, and we did very simple lectures like how to use button telephones. When we bought them from telephone companies, they were really very surprised because we were the only ones who asked them for very simple telephones for our elderly, because usually they have very sophisticated smartphones. So, and it really worked. It was a hard process, but our beneficiaries just started to use them little by little. So starting to call us every day to talk, to see how is the weather and so on and so forth. So we really like this. Now, what we plan to do for our next step is to create a small class for 15 seniors, and we want to start to learn to teach them how to use a computer. Of course, they don't have computers, they don't have internet, they don't have all these devices. That is why we intend first to buy. We applied for a project, let's say, and we want to create a room where they can come and they can learn how to use a computer, how to use Skype or Viber or Zoom. After that, just to be able to have at least very simple contacts with dear persons. And I would like to mention that the advice of Rita was very, very precious, because we intend to hire an expert. And what she said concerning much patience, very simple sentences, repeating things, praising. So that might be a clue to success. So we, of course, don't think that we will really turn the mountains upside down, but every step is really important. And I also do hope that IT professional will take into account all the things that different NGOs, different associations are coming with, and that they would really focus not only on very sophisticated devices, but something that is really accessible for seniors as well, especially when we take into account that aging problem is becoming more and more in the whole world. So our planet is really becoming slowly more and more, let's say, more and more elderly, so nowadays, and we should really take into account this, and we should respect and create all the conditions to make them feel active as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Veronica. EURAG is very proud to get your organization as a new member. And I am sure that we will be able to give you many good examples that you would be able to implement into your work. So thank you so much for your contribution. And now I am coming to Poland. Grazina, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you for being able to meet all of you. I'm very happy to see all of you. Some persons I haven't seen a long time. For example, Valerie, Val, hi. I have made notices during all your speeches, because I would like to make some kind of summary after this meeting in order to formulate some general reflections. And that's why what is for me very important. I have noticed some reflections to your speeches. For example, about the money which are not invested in the technology and solutions for older persons. I would say there is a lot of money, and that has been a lot of money invested, but they were not invested in the right way. And that's why we have a lot of different solutions which are not understood by most of us, absolutely not by the persons who should use these solutions. And that's why it is important to make some changes on the political level, to invest money in the way we are really, where they are really necessary to be invested. In this grassroots approach, all of you, almost all of you, were talking about special situations, special groups, which are supported by you or generally by somebody. If you are talking about seniors, we all know this is the very complex group, not generally with different persons, different needs and different situation. That's why it is important to dedicate the solutions to the certain group, not to all the seniors, because not all the seniors have the same needs. And when we are talking about too complicated solutions and persons who don't want to learn, who are not able to learn, because education is learning. Not everybody has this ability, this ability to learn new things, so complicated things. And that's why I would never recommend to exclude this group from the ICT solutions and ICT world. But they should have a possibility to participate in the services they are able to use. And these services should be dedicated to this group, where they don't have to learn everything. And the same as the younger ones and the more experienced ones have to learn. They should have the certain services and solutions which will be possible to be understood and to be operated by those persons. But it is not possible, in my opinion, to exclude anybody and to say that some group of persons will not be able to participate in the world and the new world of technologies, because this is also the personal rights of people to participate in the reality we have and we all live. And that's why it is important, this personalized solutions, really the personalized pathways of learning. That was also told here, that we have to concentrate on the certain person, how the person learns, how this person understands, how it is possible to make some progress. And it is not the general and universal solution for all. That's why this meaning of education and educators, the persons who are working with the older persons in the area of ICT is really crucial. The educators and those persons have to be, first of all, educated how to do that, with all the differences and these details which are connected also with that what Gabor told, with different impairments, limitations in seeing, hearing, moving, and so on. There are a lot of details which should be considered. If we are talking also about expenses, about money, it is. I would suggest that we shouldn't give up and don't make any pressure on the ICT concerns and business, because it is impossible that we always have to adjust us and our skills to the over and over suggested new solutions and new versions of programs. And it is not the case to buy the computer. It is also not the question of buying the older one, because, as you know, we have to use the most sufficient device in order to be able to participate. Because if we have the older devices, older equipment, it will not be possible. It will only be the stress for us, because our devices, our equipment will not be efficient. And for older persons, they should have the best equipment actually, and it is not possible that every year or even every month we have to make new actualization on or changing in the programs and so on, and it is complicated. It is always something new, and learning all the time. I know that it is the lifelong learning, but it is not possible that only we are responsible for that. And the ICT solutions are only the means to the goal and not the goal in itself. It is not possible that we all the time have to adjust to the new solutions, and nobody cares how it will go on and who is on this way and who is excluded. So that's why there are a lot of things I have noticed, but I don't want to talk about everything. But anyway, it is not possible to learn for everybody and to learn the same way, and that's why learning and education, it is learning, and education, this is organization, this is system, but we have to consider the certain person who has the personal abilities to learn. Yeah, so this is the person-centered approach is always to be considered. Thank you.
Thank you, Grażyna, for your comprehensive presentation. So what comes out is clear enough that at this moment, when we really don't have available those very age-friendly technologies, we should probably concentrate much more on the educators to develop their skills, how to approach the people who are simply not ready or not yet in that state that they would be willing to learn. And if we teach them how to approach such people, it would be the way out of the exclusion of many elderly. So thank you very much. And we have several guests from Russia, from Sveta Hansen, whom I would like to give a floor, and she brought in something like 4 more people And Sveta, you will tell us if everyone would like to contribute, or it is just you who is giving a presentation and these others are only listening. Just tell us, because I don't know. So Sveta, Hansen, the floor is yours.
Yeah, good day. Is it okay with my sound?
Yeah, it is okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I have two volunteers here now from my organization, Vladimir and Ludmila, but we agreed that I will represent my organization and my seniors. So, I would like to say that I could underline every word of my previous speaker, Grazina, that we need to stress on educators and motivation, first of all. And if we go on to the question, what we could advise say that first of all, we should start with the preparation of seniors in the ICT world. And for example, in Russia, we have the computer period since 2000. So we have 20 years of computer life, and about 3 generations of people were covered by computer demands. It means that there's no people without computer skills at all. And agreed with Monique, I also very much surprised when I see people among seniors who have no any skills of the computer, and it is because they do not want missions. We started our computer courses in our organization. We started with the motivation why we should learn it and what uses we could get from it. And that was the crucial point to arrange the education courses. So by this time, our authorities have made a lot of efforts of the computer scholarships, computer courses all around Russia. There's a lot of people who do not want to use it practically, who do not want to raise their horizon of using gadgets. So it depends upon the persons, and our role of our organization is to create the needs to use it. For example, to help to another person to in making some shopping bridges with other friends from other countries. So we put the goals to the elderly to use. And as I know, I'm not an expert, but as I know, there's no special needs towards ICT environment to improve the capacities. Of course, first of all, it demands from elderly to improve their skills of using. And I agree with Peter Hansen also that the first and important thing is to use. And also my position is to maybe to strong the solidarity between the generations. So a lot of people could use the environment of family to they're very much engaged in family connections because of the computer skills, and it helps. My suggestion will be maybe we could finalize also our seeing of this problem in written form and to present to the community of EURAG. And I would like maybe to pick up some voices from our radiators about how to improve their comfort using ICT, if you agree. Thank you.
Thank you, Svetlana. And can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, all right. So because it's showing me that the signal from Svetlana was very low. So, all right. So I think that we would appreciate very much such report, and that Grazina, especially Grazina, could use it in her, in her summary of our approach, to this problem of digital technologies and their usage. So thank you very much for your offer. And after Russia comes Slovakia. Aneta Zubekova from Bratislava.
Dana, thank you for the floor. It is very, very interesting discussion today. I prepared some remarks from Slovakia, which is really in line with Grazina, in line with Gabor and other speakers. And my approach, how to prepare some brief information from my country, is to discuss with trainers, IT trainers, because I am also the trainer, and a lot of times I trained seniors not in IT technologies but in other topics. And the question is approach. That's, I think, from the point of trainer, this is the core question: how to approach to the senior group where I have some participants for the first time. Then my first recommendation is to recognize whether the seniors are beginners in technology using or a little bit advanced. And this approach will modify in my hand how to postpone in the training methods. For the beginners, all the trainers I discussed recommend, and I use it also, to go slowly, to repeat things, to present individual functions of browser, and also to repeat and to have individual approach, as Grazina mentioned. For advanced, for a little bit advanced, I have 3 tips from trainers. The first one is to send participants the presentation in advance, and then create some time for them to prepare, to formulate some questions, to be familiar with the content. Second tip is to guarantee the participants to, if necessary, to create some space for individual responses of the questions. Yes, to eliminate some misunderstanding, to eliminate some freight from the topic. And the third tip is to involve into the presentation some elements, some tricks for refreshment. Yes, to put some photos, to put some diagrams, some graphics, and then in that interruption of the topic to create other space for next question. And this is the message from the trainers from the third age university, where is continuing in pandemic time also the next round of the digital skills for seniors. Of course, not the big interest, the big feedback than previous. And it is, but on the other hand, it is a lot of seniors continuing of being better and better and digital skills, not to use only the help of grandchildren's, of I don't know, friends and colleagues and neighbors, but they have ambition to improve and to be better prepared in electronic community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Aneta, very much. But your approach somehow requests that they are a little bit familiar with the technologies, because otherwise they wouldn't be able to do it. So if we are talking about the beginners, we must be much more patient and much slower with them. So thank you so much. I wanted to ask if Jessica Puhar is with us from Slovenia, because she apologized and she was not sure that she would make it. Jessica, are you with us? Probably not. And also Galina Polyakova from Ukraine apologized that she had some other meeting. So I would like to give a floor. I would like to give a floor to Valerie Woodgager from the United Kingdom. Valerie has been a long-term member of EURAG, and she is absolutely amazing because she actually started with digital technologies in an advanced age, and she was able to create a network which is now used in many countries, in many African countries, and her project is called Learn with Grandma. And I would like Valerie to tell us more about her project. It is a very encouraging story that Valerie will share with us. Valerie?
Thank you, darling. It's lovely to see everybody. It's such a long time since we met. You know, to actually see you is wonderful. And you, Grazia, too. And to meet all your new people. I want to say one thing, first of all, from the previous discussions. The internet doesn't care how old you are. The internet is for us all. We older people, I'm advanced age now, Dana. I will be 80 in July, but I actually had email in the late 1970s. I didn't want it. My son said, "Mum, you are going to have email." And I said, "Why? I can write a letter." He said, "It's free and it gets there like that." Ah, that's handy, I thought. And it saves money. Who buys stamps nowadays? And a letter to my brother in Africa used to take 6 to 7 weeks. Now we can actually talk to one another. He lives in Australia now. It's even further, but we can still talk in real time. And then in 2008, I went in for a competition with the Women's Institute, and I was in the top 10. Which surprised me, but especially is that time the Women's Institute didn't want older members to win. They wanted it to present a younger face of the Women's Institute, and I was the oldest competitor. Anyway, we had to get votes in, and I thought, how on earth am I going to get people to vote for me? My son did a group mailing on his email list and on mine, and my grandson put it on Facebook. In 2 days, I got votes from the Ukraine to California, from Australia to South Africa. I thought, this internet rubbish has got legs. We can use this. We can use this to communicate. And I'm working on a new project now. Donna, were you able to send that email round to people?
No.
Please do so, because, or I can if I've got everyone's email individually, but you know I'm dyslexic and I cannot separate the emails very easily. So if you could send that email to everybody, it'd be a great help. The new project is about creating ebooks. Now, from what you've been saying about older people and their use of technology, you may say there's no way they're going to get involved in creating ebooks, but they can get involved in non-technical ways. An ebook needs all kinds of skills. It needs the technical skills, but it also needs people who can write. We've been writing for generations after generations. It needs people who can draw, people who can take photographs. It even needs, if you were to create a play of the book, then it needs people who can create costumes. We've been sewing all our lives, haven't we? It needs people who can collect or make props. So we need the old-fashioned skills as well. The older skills are still very valuable. And then the younger people can show us how to put it online. E-books can be about any subject that you like. They could be about all of your individual projects. But what I really would like to do is to concentrate on preserving languages, history, culture, and tradition. And the beautiful thing about e-books is, well, there's lots of beautiful things about them, but one is you can write these stories in your own language, record them in your own language, and then they can be translated into English, edited by a native English speaker, and then they can be used in schools as educational material for learning of both languages. I live in Wales. Wales has got its own language, which I don't speak because I'm English. I'm a migrant. And I love living in Wales. It's very beautiful here. Quickly show you out of my window. I live in the Brecon Beacons National Park. I remember meeting one man once and he said, "You live in a park? Do you live on a bench or do you?" And I said, "No, I have a house." But it doesn't matter where you live. The internet is for us all. The thing is not to be scared of it. I didn't want to know, but once you get into the way of it, it's very easy. And I would say to anybody who is showing older people how to use the internet, remember the most important thing, and that is, I do not need to know how to work it. Sorry, I do not need to know how it works. I drive a car. I don't understand how a car works, except that I have to put petrol in it. If anything goes wrong with the car, I take it to a garage. I drive my computer, my laptop, in exactly the same way. I don't know or care how it works. I just need to know how to work it, how to send emails, how to post things onto Facebook. Keep it simple. The only thing that's delaying me now with the ebook project is that my colleagues excuse me, in Uganda are writing a tutorial. And of course, he is an IT expert. And I keep having to send it back to him and saying, "What does this mean?" Because he's forgotten that simple rule that you need to keep it simple. So the tutorial will be written for people of your age and my age and young people too. It won't be written in technical language. Now, what I'd like to do now is to open the floor for anybody who's got questions, because I think it's much nicer to have a chat in that way. So, Grazia, I know you've got stories in Poland. I've been there, been there twice. 2019, we had a lovely time together, didn't we? And one interesting thing, Grazia asked me to go and speak at a conference about tourism. And one of the things that came out in that was very interesting, and that is intergenerational family tourist holidays. I hadn't realized that before. Today, families are going on holiday together, and this will happen even more as we open up a bit because of the pandemic, because you can't go to places where you're going to mix with other people, but you could hire a cottage, a dacha, whatever, and stay as a family together. And when I was in Poland at that conference, Grazia, I walked out and I saw several families of 3 generations, but I saw one of 4 generations together, clearly. So you see, the way we use technology is incredibly varied. So does anyone have any questions?
Yes,
I just want to interrupt that. Please,
hi.
Will you please connect Paul Anker? He has been disconnected. I've tried to chat to you, but we are no success. Please connect Paul Anker. Thank you.
Monique, can you hear us? I am not sure that she's with us now. So that's why she didn't react to your request. I can't see Monique. So I will ask Valerie. And Valerie, I introduced your project, Learn with Grandma. You didn't tell us a word about that, so maybe you could just introduce what we expected you.
Well, Learn with the ebooks is part of Learning with Grandma. We older people have skills and knowledge, and the young people have skills and knowledge we need. They need our skills and we need theirs. Learn with Grandma is about exchanging skills across the generations. Many things that we know automatically, they don't know. And when it comes to saving the planet, well, we were saving the planet years ago. We always made do amend. I was born in 1941. I don't remember the war, of course, but we grew up knowing we had to mend our clothes. We had to do gardening. We had to do all of those things because we had to survive. And that is now considered a new way of living, but it's the way we always did. So our older skills are still very much needed in this modern age. The magic is that we can promote those skills via the internet. I do no-dig gardening now in my garden. And by the way, I'm still collecting vegetables from my garden. Purple sprouting and kale is still growing. So I'm still getting fresh vegetables from my garden. But with no-dig gardening, I found a clip on the internet. I'll post it to Dana so that you can send it to others, because older people can do no-dig gardening much more easily. Just put cardboard down and put compost and so on top and plant into there. By the time the weeds come through the compost, the plants have got time to grow. And it really is working well. I've done it for 3 years now, and it saves my back. Digging is something I don't want to do anymore. So learning skills from the internet is also something we can add to the internet. The man who posted about no-dig gardening has been doing it for over 30 years, probably 40 now. So you see, it's an older skill that's been revamped in a different way. Does that answer the question, Dana?
Not exactly, because I know that your project was actually focused on African countries where the elderly were sharing some of their life stories with the youngsters, and the youngsters were using computers and recording it. So I thought that you could mention that.
It's not focused on Africa. There are groups from Australia to Canada and from the Ukraine to South Africa. But what has happened in Africa is I went to speak at a conference and I met a young teacher, and he has been promoting it very much in Uganda. Hello. And in Uganda, they have set up in schools, they've done a pilot project of ICT in schools, so that the lady waving at me, the ICT in schools, and there they are teaching older people. Unfortunately, because of the pandemic, they are at a standstill at the moment. They cannot actually invite older people to go into the schools. But because they tend to have more intergenerational families, the students are teaching their elders at home. So it's happening in Africa, and now Moses has got a contract from the Ugandan government to promote that project throughout Uganda. But it's a project that could be done anywhere in the world. Anywhere in the world can do it. The internet doesn't care where you live either. That's another beauty of it. I didn't mean Learn with Grandma to become an international network. It's just happened.
And it is amazing. So anyone else has any question for Valerie? Yeah, Rosemary would like to ask. Rosemary?
Hello, Rosemary.
Yeah. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
I think, Valerie, we know one another, because in Austria I did the same thing with Storyline. The classroom is going to be a meeting place for generations. And
wonderful.
Yeah, that's me.
So Rosemary, there is a group in Austria. If you look on Facebook, do you use Facebook?
Yeah, of course.
Yes, me too. Well, first of all, I'm very easy to find on Facebook because I'm the only Valerie Wood Gauger on Facebook.
Yeah, it's okay.
And also, if you look for Learn with Grandma Austria, then you can join that group, and I would love you to post about the stories that you're doing on that group. We could also share it to Learn with Grandma Germany too, because will be telling the stories in German.
Yeah.
And what we could also do is get those stories translated into English so that they could then be sent to schools, so that schools could learn to read and speak, because we would like people to also record orally the stories. So you have the stories in the written and the spoken word, so people can read and hear how the language sounds. We'd have to do 2 versions in German, wouldn't we? Because Austrian dialect is different to, well, probably more. I don't know how many dialects in Germany. I was going to go on a trip to Germany last year.
Austrian language is just the same as in German.
The same pronunciation?
Yeah, the tune is a little different.
Yeah.
The words are the same.
So thank you. Because of the time, because in 2 minutes we should end our Zoom meeting. So I will send to all of you the letter of description of Valerie's activities, and anyone can come back to her with individual suggestions and for individual discussion. So I would like to thank you to all and to pass the microphone to Dirk for the final word.
Yeah, thank you very much, Donna. You did again a very good job giving the floor to everybody, introducing people and their projects, and the observations and suggestions from all those who attended this morning's session were extremely interesting and stimulating for further thoughts. I would like to encourage you all, if you have additional ideas and points you would like to raise, send them please to Dana and to Grazina, because Grazina is sort of collecting all that and then putting it into her own reflections and the paper she's working on. So please do not hesitate to share all your brilliant ideas with her. And I'm happy to know that we meet again. I wanted to suggest a new date, and I thought about the 16th of April, but Dana will not be happy with that date. I see her already. I see that in her eyes. So Dana, you have the last word before I say goodbye to you, all of you. Thank you very much for the coming together of today. And I look forward to meeting you soon again. Dana will inform you about that. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dirk. And I would like just to mention that we are lucky to have Grazina Buce as a gerontologist and her skills for this topic, because it is extremely valuable. So thank you, Grazina, for making the summary of this meeting and the previous meeting. And now please listen to me carefully, because the next Zoom meeting will be on April 30th, excuse me. And I will not tell you why it is so important, but I will only tell you that it is important to be there. Yeah. So
Anna, repeat the date. I didn't catch the date.
Yeah. April the 30th. The 30th. The 30th. April the 30th. You will get an invitation from me, and you will get the topic, which I can actually reveal right now, because it is the EURAG members' potential matters. So it means that we will talk about what we are still able to do, what we are able to contribute with our skills to the overall benefit of EURAG community. Thank you very much for joining us today, and see you on April the 30th. And if you are interested in memory training and in that English conversation class, so the English conversation class is on 24th, and the memory class is next Friday on 26th. So have a good time. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.